Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday morning mat. We alternate our classes between mat and bar, so we get a little bit of variety. And to add to that variety, we're going to start our mat work sitting up this morning. And so you'll collect the normal props that you want to use, something between the inner thighs if you like, weights for arm work if you like a little extra challenge when you're moving your arms, and maybe a flex band. Yeah. And then a cushion or a blanket to sit on. We want to be sitting high enough that the hips are comfortable and the spine is able to be easily vertical, right? Without a lot of pulling or hauling on the neck or a lot of tightness in the hips, right? You just kind of want to stack yourself up in gravity, and like a tall building, right? You just balance there over everything below. And so the thing that's below as we sit is our pelvis, which is our physical center. Feel that the sitting bones are clearly balanced wherever you're sitting, and that the hips themselves all the way around can be as relaxed as possible. We just become aware of our breath here. We'll use a Pilates style of breathing so that we inhale through the nose, very lightly round the lips, so gently with that. Exhale through the mouth. When the exhale is done, you inhale. And so on, exhaling without a lot of force, mostly with steadiness. Continue that for about a minute. We become aware of the effects of the breath on the body. And because we're sitting up rather than lying down, we have a better chance to feel that breath in a three-dimensional way. So inhales causing the back of the bottom ribs to expand. Exhales rising upward, creating spaciousness, not just in the front of the body, but all the way around through the inside of the crown of your head. Aware of the sitting bones. You want to feel like they have a little bit of width or elasticity between them across the base of the pelvis. And also definitely a connection across the bones that form the framework at the bottom of the pelvis. Of course, I'm referring to pelvic floor. Before your next inhale or at the end of the previous exhale, become aware of a light Kegel that connects the bottom surfaces of the pelvis and lifts inward. And then keep that. And as you inhale and draw the breath downward, feel that it's a landing pad for the breath. Kegel stretching or becoming a little bit elastic without releasing. And then exhale upward. I often refer to the directionality of the breath. The inhales downward, the exhales upward. That also occurs with the muscular surfaces that control the breath. As you inhale, diaphragm contracts downward, pelvic floor stretches downward without releasing, so preserve your Kegel. And as you exhale, diaphragm relaxes upward, and pelvic floor lifts a little bit into the pelvis. So inhales wash downward, and exhales float upward. Take just half a minute more and see if you can sense some of that movement. Two more rounds of breath and we continue. Last one. Good. And then if your legs are crossed, Think about crossing them the other way, so the new leg in front. We just do a little bit of head movement, a little bit of arm and shoulder movement, and we're off to the races. So start with a nod. We just drop the chin down slowly, and then lift the head up through neutral. Right. We're really just kind of introducing, not kind of, we're introducing movement into the top vertebra where the head balances on top of the spine. Become aware of the spine's continuity up into the head. It's easy to lose track of that and feel like your spine stops at your chest or your shoulders or your neck. When you've done this nod a couple of times, then we keep the head level and scan left and right across the room, or right and left. Mobilizing, becoming aware of the second vertebra, the next lowest one that allows us to turn the head. And then combining the movement of those two vertebrae, drop one ear towards your shoulder and circle the head down, chin toward the center of the chest. Down in the center of the chest, pick the head up. And then we drop the other ear toward the other shoulder and circle the head down. Do that another time. Drop the first ear toward the first shoulder and lean a little bit in that direction, or curve really, rounding forward from center, roll up. And we do the larger version of that motion to the second side, dropping, bending a little to that side and rounding forward. We're going to put the feet flat to the floor and I'll turn sideways a little bit, do a little bit of a seated cat and cow. I'd like you to be able to hold on to your shins so you can add a stretch between the shoulder blades. This is the last thing we'll do before we lie down onto our backs. Start with the exhale and round deeply into your spine, creating a curve that goes from one end to the other, from bottom to top. And then inhale, return through neutral. And unless it doesn't feel good, go ahead and take it into a little bit of extension, opening the inner surface of the spine. Exhale, flex forward, opening the outer surface of the spine. And inhale, go the other way. And of course, the inner surface opens here. Do one more of those things and feel how where the ribs go as the spine moves, the shoulders also cooperate or coordinate with that motion. And when you've done your last one, just kind of shake your arms out. If you're sitting on a cushion, put it off to the side, and we lie down onto our backs. You will probably want to have your ball or yoga block for between the knees, and maybe a little bit of a blanket under your head, especially if it feels like your chin is jutting forward. So we lie down, change my camera angle a little bit, and we have something between the knees, which is good for alignment as well as for activation of inner thighs. And just take a big breath in, and with the knees bent, the feet flat, just exhale. Oh. All right, allowing your body weight to fully settle into ground. Place your hands on your low belly. Inhale through the nose. And then when the inhale is done, begin to very lightly squeeze the ball. And as you exhale, maintain that light squeeze. Toward the end of the exhale, become aware of your Kegel. Keep it relaxing the squeeze a little bit between the inner thighs, and inhale, making space in the hips for the breath to descend your length. Re-squeeze toward the end of the inhale and exhale. Toward the end of the exhale, keep your Kegel and inhale, soften the squeeze between inner thighs. And keep that going. So not only do you have a breath action, a breath direction, but a little bit more awareness of the additional support muscles that surround your center. So chiefly your inner thighs, your pelvic floor. You'll feel the ribs, the diaphragm that spans the bottom of the ribs, relaxing on your exhale, making way for the breath to rise. And working, drawing downward on the inhale, that negative pressure causing the lungs to fill without any work from the shoulders, the upper chest, or the neck. Please do 2 more rounds of this rhythmic breathing. Release a little bit through the inner thighs, but keep holding on to the ball. On your next exhale, re-squeezing if you like, make your imprint, shifting the focus to the contraction of the lower abs that changes the shape of your low spine, in this case, flattening it. When you inhale, release the work of the low abs. The low back will resume its neutral shape. And as you exhale and squeeze the ball, return to your imprint. Contraction of the low abs. Inhale, release that contraction. And the spine and pelvis return to neutral. Do that 2 more times. Exhale, contracting the lower abs. Feel how the inner thighs support that contraction. Inhale, releasing to neutral. The last time we imprint on exhale, I'd like you to stay here for just a couple of breaths. We exhale, we make our imprint. And as you hold imprint, you can, of course, breathe in and out when necessary. We're going to work a little bit through the feet. So we strive to keep the inner thighs active, pelvic floor engaged, relax outer hips, and on the next exhale breath, lift the heels up by pushing the balls of the feet down. Try not to scrunch or claw your toes. Inhale with the heels lifted, the feet and lower legs active. And then exhale, still an imprint, lower the centers of the heels to the floor. Feel the grounding of the heels remain active in the lower part of your legs and feet. We do that just once more. We're imprinted, we inhale here, keeping the Kegel and the spinal position, and exhale, squeeze the ball, lifting the heels while we activate the inner thighs as a continuation of our core down into our feet. Hold the lift of the heels, inhale in place, squeeze the ball, exhale, lower your heels. With the heels on the ground, inhale and return to neutral spine, and we'll continue directly into hip rolls. So if you've got a tall mat under your head, lower it or remove it altogether. And when you're ready, allow the arms to rest back. This is going to be a passive stretch for the shoulders, as we'll see at the top. Make a distinction between the rib cage, where the shoulder blades and collarbones rest, and the arms, which are supported by the floor. Take a breath in. We are in neutral here. Squeeze the ball and exhale and begin your first hip roll, flexing, moving through the lower spine, flattening it out, and then beginning to lift vertebra by vertebra as you press down through the feet and extend the hips. When you run out of breath, pause. Inhale at that point, keep your Kegel, and then exhale and continue your travel upwards. Now, as the ribs begin to lift and the shoulders go with them, in essence, the arms fall back and you get a stretch between the shoulder compartment and the arm bones. Inhale at the top, and then exhale as you roll down. Allow the ribs to fall back into the plane of the arms, curving with the spine as one vertebra at a time lowers. Bottom of the ribs land. The rest of the lower back lengthens along the ground. And then you release to neutral. Please do 2 more. Exhaling and rolling up a little bit at a time. Now, it is a continuous motion, except for that point where you might need to stop and take a breath. Feel the opening across the front of the shoulders as the arms rest back and the chest lifts through. You'll take a breath at the top, keep firmly engaged through the feet, and then exhale and roll down. We have a third and final repetition. Move into that when you're ready. Once you're down onto the ground, take a moment in neutral and just turn the head right and left. Settle the head in center, and if you like to use weights for our shoulder extension, go ahead and grab those weights in your hands. Cans of soup work pretty well, and nothing at all still works pretty well. We extend the arms forward toward the ceiling and begin by moving the shoulders forward and back against the ribs. All right, so before the shoulders were stable on the ribs as the ribs moved, now we're going to keep the ribs stable and press the shoulders forward toward the ceiling on the inhale. The chest narrows, the upper back widens, and then exhale, pull the arms and the shoulders back, chest opens and space between the shoulder blades narrow. So push forward and back through the shoulders, moving the arm bones with the shoulder girdle until you find that spot in the middle where you're in balance in the position of the shoulders on the ribs and of the arm bones in the shoulders. Take a breath in, keeping your kegel. Lightly squeeze the ball, and as you exhale, reach the arms back. Right, arms going back toward your ears, but not necessarily straining back to that point. Inhale, hold the reach, and then exhale and return. And we continue this 3 more times, moving on the exhale, extending the arms in the shoulders or extending the shoulders. Hold the reach, keep your kegel, and inhale. Activate inner thighs and exhale as you return. So another way to not only strengthen, but to stretch the shoulders. This time stationary through the ribs as the arm moves. Arms move. 1 more, please. Now, when you've returned from your last one, keep the arms vertical and we'll all catch up with each other at this point. We do an open and close motion to the side. Different breath patterning. We'll use our inhale to stretch the arms open wide, apart from each other, stretching from fingertip to chest to other hand, and then exhale, return. So feel continuity across the shoulders, right? From one hand to the other through the center of the chest. We do 4 of these guys. Feel that the neck is able to relax as the head rests back. Do 1 more. And when you've returned, lower your arms to your sides and roll over to lie on one side, ready for spinal rotation. So we've already opened up or warmed up that lateral motion through the shoulders as well as the turn through the head. We combine both of those things. You'll want your blanket back under your head again. As we move into our spinal twist, I suggest something between the knees. If that doesn't feel good, just know that you want to activate the inner thighs. You can use weights or a weight in your top hand. Take the gaze forward and neutral and balance hips and shoulders. On your next inhale breath, start the rotation by turning the head upward and then lift the arm pretty soon after that. The shoulder and the top side of the ribs continue to open on exhale, rotating open into that larger twist all the way down through your waist. Inhale, stay. Squeeze the ball with your exhale. and return. We have 2 more of these guys. Inhale to lift the head, initiate the rotation, follow it with the arm, continue it on exhale through the ribs. Have a breath there, and then return on exhale. Make sure, even though I'm referencing the arm a lot, that it's not simply a motion or a flinging of the arm. It really is a rotation that's mediated by the muscles that wrap around the waist. So I'm talking about your obliques. When you've done your third one, roll over to the other side. Arrange it the same way. A neutral spine, no collapse in the upper body, no hunching through the lower back. And then on your inhale breath, when you're ready to begin, start the rotation at the neck, continue it with the lift of the arm. Exhale now down deeper through the length of your spine to the bottom of your waist. Inhale, hold. And exhale, reverse that process. Strong muscles at the waist, bringing the ribs back. The arm returns and lowers, the head squares. A total of 3, please. Continue. That's it. Beautiful. Having done that final one, come to hands and knees. Pardon me. We'll do a cat stretch, and we will only do 3 of these guys as well. Make yourself comfortable with your wrists and your knees. And once you're in your hands and knees position, rock a little forward and back. In hip rolls, I referenced the ability of opening the chest through the arms, or maybe not in hip rolls, but earlier. So slide the upper ribs forward and back a little bit through the shoulders. The arms are fixed and we're mobile in the shoulder blades and collarbones. And then find the middle spot here as well. Toes tucked if you like. Take a breath in. And on the exhale, begin to round from the bottom of the spine to the top. As the spine curves, the ribs coordinate, and the angle of the arms changes a little in the shoulders, as though you're doing an arm raise. Hold here, inhale. Start at the bottom of your spine on your exhale, and return through neutral. Again, as the shape of the spine and ribs change, the angle in the arm, or of the arm and the shoulder changes. Carry that into extension on your inhale. And release. Prepare and exhale, round again. It is as though you're extending the shoulder. Inhale here, and then exhale, return. As you move into extension, it's like you're flexing the shoulder, pulling the arms down inside it. Do one more complete repetition. Stay nice and warm and juicy in the muscles rather than gripped and stiff. Good, you guys. When you've completed your last one, lie down onto your back. You'll want to be in neutral. You can have a comfortable amount of head mat, and you'll want the ball between your knees. The knees are bent, of course. The feet are flat to the ground. And we're going to do a little bit of breathing work here, kind of preamble to our eventual 100 exercise, but also relevant to, well, anything else we're doing in our Pilates class. Once you're on the ground, we return to that position with the hands against the low belly. In the 100, we have one long exhale that's divided up into 5 pieces. We do the same with the inhale as well. But with the feet on the ground and a neutral posture, I want you to see if you can feel those 5 divisions of exhales as a deepening or an intensification of the low abs and the core. So we'll kegel and inhale downward and begin. Inhale smoothly. Those 5 exhales are relatively slow. Breathe out. And inhale. We do this 3 more times, a little mini set of the exhale portion of hundreds breathing. Feel that you can deepen the activity inside the deep part of the pelvis without adding strain in the neck and the shoulders. Feel that you can deepen that activity without compressing or hunkering down. And when you've done your last one, inhale and place your hands under the back of the head. And we're going to move into ab prep. We are not going to divide the exhale up into 5 portions, but you want to feel that continual deepening through the length of your exhale as we now do a formal exercise. Hands behind the head to support its weight. We'll nod the head downward on the inhale, opening the back of the neck, releasing the upper spine. And then as you squeeze the ball, begin to exhale and intensify the connection from core and bend forward. Inhale at the top, squeeze the ball. Exhale, intensify your connection as you lower. Inhale, soften the squeeze, nod your head. Re-squeeze on exhale and bend forward. Inhale at the top, squeeze, exhale, and lower. Do 4 more with this particular focus. Mm-hmm. That's it. Stay soft in the margins of the hips. Feel the ground under your feet and under your pelvis. And your last repetition, probably. Continue through, focusing on the breath. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. When you finish the last one, stretch your legs out long, put the ball off to the side or the block, whatever you might be using. In this long open position of the body, take a deep breath in and exhale in a kind of sigh. Begin to flex and point the feet, rocking on the heels up and down. After a couple rounds of that, swish the feet side to side as though they're windshield wipers, rolling across the heels, left and right. And then take it into circles, both feet moving in the same sense or direction. Go the other way. And then shake out those feet and roll over to lie on your belly. Rest your forehead on your hands or find some comfortable position for the upper body. We're not going to extend the spine just yet. We are going to instead extend the hips a little bit. Once you're lying on your front, Stretch the legs long enough that you feel like the quads are working to support the extension of the knees. Your feet are pointing, so your calves are active. And then pull the inner thighs as close as they come, right? Pubic bones are forward into the mat without bearing down. And we'll do just one of those long exhales into 5 divisions, deepening the abs in this prone position. Take a breath in through the nose, Kegel, soften the chest, and then exhale. Inhale. No longer dividing up the exhale breath. We're going to go into one long exhale. And as you do, now lift the legs from the ground, both of them coming up. As you move at the back of the hip joint, hold the lift, inhale, and exhale, lower. Pelvis is steady, the thigh bones move. We exhale, lift both legs up. Hold for a breath. And exhale, lower both legs down. And of course, we're deepening the exhale as we move further into that breath. We do this only one more time. We're really preparing and setting the tone in the lower body so that we have good foundation for spinal extension. Keep the hands under the forehead. Keep the legs on the ground, and we don't disturb the position of the pelvis or the legs. We keep our long, low back, and on the exhale breath, now move the shoulder blades. They glide toward the bottom of the ribs, relaxing and opening the upper chest as the sternum lifts a little bit from the floor. Inhale, and exhale, lower down. So to be clear, we're bringing the upper body to a hover and then releasing that. Prepare for that with inhale, opening the shoulder girdle, and then exhale, begin to reach forward and upward through the top of the chest and the crown of the head. Feel that the muscles in your middle back are causing this action. Exhale, lower down. We do one more. As you exhale and extend the upper back, feel that the support for this extension comes not only in the position of your pelvis, but in the stretch and activation of your legs. And exhale, lower. Good. We're going to keep the elbows bent, but open the hands out to the sides, ready for breaststroke prep number 1. So a bigger extension, still using all of the same muscles, but drawing a little higher into that position, up to the bottom of the ribs, potentially. The forearms are parallel, the hands are flat, the legs are active and stretched, as is your breath connection. Prepare with an inhale, exhale, and begin to deepen as you extend forward and upward, lifting the face, the chest, the mid-sternum, and maybe up into the bottom of the ribs. Breathe in, press down into the elbows, and exhale, lower. 2 more of these, guys. Preparing with your inhale, opening and clearing the neck, activating legs and core with your exhale, deepening as you rise up. Feel a beautiful stretch and opening in the chest as you inhale in your extension, and then exhale and lower down. A third and final repetition. Continue when you're ready. Long through the tailbone without excessive tucking through your bum. Use your abs for that. And then once you're down, sit back into shell stretch. In shell stretch, we want to round deeply through the spine and open the extensors. So it's kind of like a child's pose that's halfway up. You can also do this sitting on your hips. Nod your head yes and turn it no. Roll the shoulders a couple of times. And on an exhale breath, stack the spine. Start at the bottom, move up to the top. Good. Stay in sitting for a moment. You can come onto a cushion if that's more comfortable. And if you have a flex band, go ahead and grab it. Now, this you can do without a flex band as well, if that's more comfortable for you. I'll show this version. I'd like you to hold the flex band between your thumb and your forefinger in that little space, so conveniently located, and have your palms facing away like you just did for breaststroke prep number 1. Now hold tight with your thumbs, dip your fingers down, and scoop them up in an internal circle. That was awkwardly said. Anyway, you'll end with the flex band across the back of your hands, but still clamped and held between your thumb and your forefinger. Okay. So with the arms up in front of you, not too high, but up in front a little bit, feel the settling of the shoulder blades and the lift of the chest. We're going to exhale and just try and widen the space between the hands by activating the back of the shoulder, as well as the muscles between the shoulder blades. And then inhale and release that a little bit. We do this a total of 6 times. Make sure that as you widen the space between the hands, you're using the back of the shoulder, not pressing from the front of the shoulder or activating the sides or back of the neck. Inhale, release a little bit, 4 more times. Exhale, deepening your core connection. And inhale, release, 3 more. Last 2. Make sure that your neck isn't getting stuck, so you can make little movements through the head. And last 1. And release. Okay. Now lie down onto your back, please. So cushion off to the side. Knees are bent. You'll have your flex band handy. And again, if you don't have a flex band, you can do this with an isometric connection. We'll take a breath here and use exhale to create imprint. Remember that the contraction of the lower abs is what creates the imprint that we're looking for. When you've gotten that, recall the movement through the feet. We'll exhale and come up onto the ball of the foot and the toes before lifting the foot from the mat into tabletop. Do the same with the second side, activating the foot in the lower leg, exhaling and lifting. Inner thighs together. If you're using a flex band, drape the flex band over the shins, just below the kneecaps. You don't want to put it in a sensitive area. And now we're holding again between thumb and forefinger. You can choke up pretty far on the flex band until you feel like the weight of the shoulders can fall. The hands are slightly forward. On the exhale breath, use the same muscles you just did to pull the band down, activating the back of the shoulder, keeping relaxed in the upper chest and neck. Inhale, release. And do that just 2 more times. Exhale. And release. Not straining the neck. And release. Of course, if you're isometrically pressing, you'll just do that version. And then you can put the band off to the side if you like. We're going to continue into the 100. Some of you might prefer to continue to use the band and on the pulsed breath, add a pulsing against that flex band. Whatever version you've chosen, get set here. Inhale, nod the chin to the chest. And as you exhale, bend forward, squeezing the knees against each other. Continue pulsing the arms and breathing in 5 times. 10 sets of these 10 breaths. With the option of keeping the head down or potentially extending the legs if that works with the version you've chosen. When you've done your 10th set, pause the pulsing and inhale smoothly. Exhale, lower down, resting the head back. With the head down, you can exhale and place a foot at a time down. Of course, get your flex band out of the way if you were using it. And with the feet on the ground, widen your stance until your feet are about the width of your outer hips rather than your inner hips. Let the knees sway side to side unless that's not healthy for your pelvis. We really are not trying to twist the pelvic halves against the sacrum. We're instead trying to put a little internal, external rotation in the hips. So keep it subtle, right? Once you've done that a couple of times to each side, bring the legs to a still point and extend the arms forward. Wrap your arms around your chest and hold opposite shoulders in your hands if you can reach. Now we rock the rib cage or the shoulders side to side. Getting a little twist in the waist. We'll continue with the arms in the other sense. Return to center, extend arms forward, wrap the new arm on top, and resume your rocking in each direction. You're twisting through the waist. When you've done that a couple of times, drop your arms down. Pardon me. Roll off to one side and sit up again. We sit up and you can use a ball between your bent knees if you like. You can also have the legs straight if that's better for you. We will do half roll back. And after a couple of half rollbacks, then we'll include the twist in that exercise. So, ball between the feet or the knees. We've already done a lot of awareness through the support of the shoulders, through the back of that joint, and through the middle back. From those muscles, extend the arms forward, add your triceps as you lengthen through your elbows, and relax your hips as you sit tall. Inhale, keep your Kegel. Squeeze the ball and exhale, roll back. We are curving and changing the shape of the lower spine, but we're not doing that change of shape through the upper spine or ribs or neck. So in your rollback position, you should essentially be neutral in the upper body. Kegel and inhale here, squeeze the ball, and exhale, return. Returning to neutral all the way through the base of the spine and the hips. Inhale in place, use your Kegel, not your neck, and squeeze the ball, exhale, roll back. In the rolled back position, head and shoulder tops are upright and neutral. Squeeze the ball, exhale, and return. Do this 2 more times. Exercise the abs rather than exercising the hips, right? We're putting flexibility into the hips and strength into the abs. And when you've done your last one, you can lower your arms and rest a moment. The other thing you can do is straighten your legs out in front. And we'll do a twisting side to side in neutral. We've done a lot of twisting today. It's kind of an oblique and shoulder themed day. So staying upright, keeping the bottom of the ribs in line with the pelvis. Have hands either together at the center of the chest or resting one on the other, right? We want to make sure that this area is soft and open and we aren't trying to pinch We're trying to hold the arms by pinching the front of the shoulders. So using this modification, we divide the exhale up into 3 long intervals, twisting a little bit more deeply on each one. Prepare with an inhale and exhale, twist. Inhale, return through center. Other side the same. Inhale, center. 2 more times across the sides, revisiting that idea of deepening the core engagement in the low belly, relaxing the diaphragm and freeing up that area of the spine in terms of movement. Weight of the head and the shoulders carried comfortably on top of the ribs. And when you've done the second side, relax. Okay. All righty. Last goofy thing here, sitting. You're going to find your ball. And bend the knees again. You put the ball between the knees or the feet. And of course, if legs straight is a better situation for your hips or your spine, you can do that. Our elbows are again bent. They are either, or the hands are either at the forehead or lightly behind the ears. And we're going to roll back halfway. Now we're going to deepen the roll back or the flexion through the bottom of the ribs under the bust line essentially as we twist. So from this rolled back position, using your abs to maintain the angle at the hips, we exhale and lower half an inch as we twist. Inhale, come up and do 4 more to that same side. Kegel, not neck. Top of the head and shoulders, ideally still level. 2 more. Not skewing the pelvis or pushing from the feet. Last one. Inhale and exhale. Come forward, stretch over the legs. Bring your hands down for a moment. As you might expect, we'll do 5 to the other side as well. So once you've caught your breath here, use an exhale to roll up. Find your sitting bones, stack into neutral and place your hands. Inhale, squeeze the ball and exhale, roll back. Feel a melting, a softening at the back of the neck. Keep the chest upright. 5 to the other side. On your exhale, roll back a little bit and twist. Up and center on your inhale. Back and twist on your exhale. 5 total. Support with the area between your pelvis and your ribs rather than your ribs and your neck. 2 more. Equal weight on both pelvic halves. Last one. And then all the way forward. Ooh. Move around what you need to move around here. It could be head, it could be shoulders. You could be just fine. Roll up on your exhale and then lie down on your back with minimal or no head mat. You can use that friend, the ball. Place the feet flat on the ground. And we do a little bit of shoulder bridge prep or hip lift. We keep a neutral spine. I often refer to this as the push-up that you do with your legs. That kind of says it all. We rest the arms back, weight of the arms into the floor, anticipating the bridge that you'll get a little bit of opening across the chest. Inhale, use your Kegel to ground the breath, and then squeeze the ball and exhale. From the back of the hips and thighs, press down through the bottom of the feet, and the pelvis floats up as you relax the front of the hips. Keep the length and relationship of pelvis to ribs. And eventually, as the hips extend, the chest opens forward through the arms. Inhale, squeeze the ball, exhale, and lower. Now, this is meant to be a reactivator for your core, a reconnection into the lower body, but it's not meant to stiffen your spine. So as we do our final two here, make sure that nothing you're doing in terms of exhaling and extending the hips is causing a bracing through the joints in your back. Not your spine, not your ribs, not your shoulder blades, and certainly not your neck. And exhale, lower. Once you've done this one, we have one more you can continue through. And when your hips are back on the ground, relax for a moment, put the ball off to the side. Now for this next one, if you like, you can take a thin layer of blanket or towel and put it under the bottom of your pelvis. We're going to do rollover prep or a tailbone curl, which is not something that we ordinarily do, but it's good to check it out now and then. You definitely want your head flat. You want your pelvis a little higher than your shoulders. Mhm. Optional, always optional to use the ball for most of these things. And you might even want to use your flex band. You'll see why in a moment. Once you've got the blanket under your pelvis, we'll exhale and make imprint. And maybe like me, decide, it's not quite in the right spot. So you want the lower part of your spine and the back of your pelvis supported. Once you're there, exhale, activate through the feet and lower legs as you lift a leg at a time up into tabletop. Same with the second leg. Bring the inner thighs together, or possibly put a ball between your ankles or your knees. We're going to exhale and focus on deepening the imprint. So kind of all of a piece with our breath deepening. We're going to try and deepen the imprint muscles. I suggest a little extension through the knees. So don't go into a place where you're really cranking on the quad muscles or the hips. We're going to squeeze the ball, and on the exhale, try to stretch the tail so far away from us that it lifts upward a little bit. Inhale and rest down. Now this is an action of the abs, not of your glutes. We exhale, squeeze the ball. And attempt to pull the tail upward. Inhale, relax. Now we're going to do a total of 5 of these. If you're having trouble with this and you have a flex band handy, it can be helpful to put it over the bottom of your feet, and feet bent or straight, or knees bent or straight. As you focus on lifting the tail, you're going to try and push your feet through the band. Inhale, relax down. This is an increase in the intensity of your lower abs, not your neck. And when you've done your 5th one, relax, and whatever props you've been using, put off to the side. When you lower your feet to the mat, do one and then the other. With feet down, return to neutral. And go ahead and get rid of the blanket out from underneath your hips. You can put it back under your head if you like. Actually, don't do that because we're going to stretch the legs out and roll over onto our front. So that doesn't make sense. So stretch your legs out. In this long stretch of the legs, you'll probably feel a stretch through the lower ab muscles. They were contracted for a significant amount of time there. You're going to jiggle out your feet and let the front of the belly lengthen. Still feel that at will you can exhale and deepen transversus with the breath. You can isometrically activate lower abs that pull the front of the pelvis up. And then roll over onto your front. We're going to lie prone and finish with a little extension here. Like our first extension series, we do start with the legs. You can rest your head down anywhere it's comfortable and have probably about a mat width spacing through the legs. So we've got a little bit of openness at the bottom of the pelvis. Sense where your sitting bones are. And then as we rotate the legs and the hips, your sitting bones stay in the same place, but your inner thigh rotates forward and inward toward the mat. Same thing, second side, right? They're your own sitting bones. You can touch them, it's fine. Once you're laterally rotated through both legs, then engage your quads in a way that stretches the knees as you support the joints and point your toes. Your head is down, my head is lifted so that I'm not talking into my hands. Feel that you're balanced through hips and shoulders, and on the exhale breath, we're going to lift one of those legs up, supporting with low ab strength rather than low spine gripping or immobilization. Hold the lift of the leg, inhale, and exhale, lower. So this is all about the back of the hips and the thighs, not about the lower back at all. On your next exhale, you lift the other one same way. Feel the leg, the femur, moving in the pelvis, not compressing into the pelvis. And exhale, lower. Do again to each side. One more to second side. And then pause. We will bring hands to that breaststroke prep 1 position, where the hands near the shoulders, the elbows along the sides, and do swan dive prep. So it's a full spinal extension here. We want to make sure that the bottom of the hips are really our pivot point in this extension. The legs stay down, but as we come up, the pelvis is going to rotate through the hips. You'll see what I mean. We take a breath, and on the exhale, come up to the bottom of the ribs, using the strong muscles of the middle back. Inhale here, the chest is opening forward through the shoulders. We press through the elbows and the hands, and exhale, start to extend further. You will start to feel the extensors in the lower part of your back. Use your lower abs and pick up the front of your pelvis and balance on the axis of the hips. Inhale, in place, and exhale, return. Lower abs mediate the return to the mat, so you don't just collapse through the low back. Please do 2 more. Prepare with an inhale. Exhale, come up to the bottom ribs, maybe further, right? You no longer have to pause there unless you choose to. And then come fully up, resting on the axis of the hips, across the pubic bones into the top of both thighs. Inhale, feel this open arc through the front of the body, and then exhale and lower down. Just like our other extensions from prone, the activity, the stretch through the legs is super important here in terms of support. We have one more repetition. Prepare, open and reach into your stretch. The chest opening, the neck long and integrated. Inhale at the top, exhale lower down. And once you're down, please sit back into shell. We'll finish in shell this morning, so be sure that you're in a position that feels comfortable. That might mean sitting on the hips rather than the heels. Certainly prop your head on something. Let the breathing slow down. Allow the back of the hips to relax as well. We use the glutes and the back of our legs pretty assertively. And then let all the words go and feel the warmth of the breath spilling down the curve of your back. Feel the pleasant heaviness in the base of the hips and a very easy exhale as you soften the belly, the bottom of the ribs. Do this 2 more times. Warm breath washing through the joints. And last time. And then inhale. Maybe open the eyes if they're closed. Exhale, roll up. Take a moment upright. See the room around you. We are done this morning. Good work, you guys. I'm going to turn off the recording and we'll all get on with the rest of our days. Have a great Wednesday.